Hello everybody, today we are doing a reading for Sagittarius. It's a general reading for Sagittarius, so everything might not quite fit with your situation. Please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. This is actually the second time I've recorded this because I tried to do it this morning and it went on way too long and I waffled too much. I was very tired. So for your own benefit, I'm re-recording this. I did shuffle the cards in a similar way to yesterday's reading, if you saw that video. And so I just laid out all the cards again as they were, and I can go through them now a bit more succinctly. I can't even say the word succinctly. What's going on with me today? Okay, so Sagittarius. The card that's leading your reading is the second chakra, Archangel Ariel. Now, this card is all about connecting with your sort of primal desires, I'd say. It's the things that you're passionate about, the things that make you feel creative. It's about individualism. Working from your gut kind of thing. It's not your gut chakra, but it's that kind of working on your base instincts. And I'll get into this a little bit more as we go through the reading. In your past, you have the letter, which is really interesting because in the underlying you also have the strategy card. So these two cards are actually very similar. I'll try and hold them so you can see them both. They both look like someone's planning something or writing something out. They've both got a quill. And also in your past you have the Knight of Swords, who's quite determined to come out there. I wasn't meant to be pulling a card from that deck at that point, but he wanted to come out and say hello. So what I'm getting from this is that there may have been some communication, some news, some planning, some strategy that was communicated, and with this communication there was some kind of strategy involved in terms of there may have been some, not deception, but they may have had to have been some planning behind it. Things may not have been easygoing, let's put it that way. So there may have been some communication regarding what this plan was. In your thoughts, in your past thoughts, you also have the Seven of Swords, which is also a card about strategizing, being a little bit deceptive, underhand maybe. It's not necessarily bad though, it's more to do with this kind of planning, almost like you're moving chess pieces around a chessboard. You've got to be quite strategic. If you look, the female figure on this card is the antagonist of this deck. She's called Raven. So she's kind of the hero of this deck. So we're on her side. She's having to be quite sneaky here in order to take these swords away from these quite creepy figures coming up the stairs. So she's acting in a way, she's acting in a sneaky way, but it's kind of for the greater good is what I'm getting from this. We also have a big full moon here, which is interesting because the moon seems to be a bit of a theme later on in the reading. Now we also have the Justice card in the action space from the past. This can be a card about contracts. I am getting contracts with that strategy card and the letter card, and the ring card later on in your reading. So this may be something to do with work. It may actually be something to do with marriage or any kind of situation where there's a legal side to it, or an official side to it, and there needs to be some strategy and planning. The Justice card is about trying to make things fair, trying to make things equal, bringing justice into a situation. I notice these two beams of light coming from her hands and being channeled into one sun. The sun is a very, very positive energy in tarot. So there may be some meaning there to you with that. What I find interesting about the past is that there is, in the heart space, you have this Ace of Wands. Now, I'm connecting the Ace of Wands with this second chakra card because we have all this gold colouring and the sunshine behind the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is about a brand new start, some kind of new plan, creative project, something new that you're passionate about. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was actioned in the past because it's in the heart space, so it's something you felt, and what I'm getting is that it was something that made you feel very passionate, something that you felt very drawn to with the second chakra card, and that you may have felt that what you were feeling was wrong. You may have tried to resist it because you also have the Seven of Wands in the past heart space. So there was some kind of change involved. You have this butterfly on this card. Sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble because my camera was difficult to set up today and I'm trying not to bump into it. So here we go. So we have this butterfly that represents change. So this Ace of Wands is bringing in some sort of change, and the Seven of Wands is someone who is standing up for something or against something. It's a card of resistance, of blocking the gate. Alternatively, the Seven of Wands could mean that you're standing up for this brand new start. There may be something that you felt passionate for that perhaps the people around you wouldn't understand or would disapprove of, but you knew that it was right for you. You could feel it in that second chakra. It's something very, very motivational for you. So you're either resisting it or you're standing up for it. Or you were, because it's in your past space. You also have the zebra. Now, the second chakra card is about individuality, and the zebra is a very, very individual animal. It stands out. If you put the zebra in the field of horses, you could spot it straight away. So the other horses might not understand why the zebra is stripy. They may look at it and think, oh, that's a bit weird. I mean, a zebra is not a horse, but they're similar creatures, so just go with my analogy. But what the zebra understands is that his stripes are right for him, for his environment. They allow him to camouflage himself. He's supposed to have stripes. So if you put the zebra in with the field of horses, the horses are not going to understand. They're going to think he's a bit strange. But if you put the zebra in with his own family, his own tribe, maybe tribe's not the right word, but his own kind, the other zebras, they're going to understand him and they're going to accept him. Now, this zebra has a triangle on his head, which is full of rainbow energy. So for me, when this news came in, or this information came in, this strategizing and this new start, it opened up a new way of thinking in your mind or in someone else's mind, where they started to accept their the things that made them unique, the things that drove them, the things that they were passionate about. Because in your current energies, you have the High Priest. The High Priest is all about the establishment, about tradition, about the way you were raised, about the status quo. And you also have the stars in the underlying, and the stars are about what is seen as being your path in life, about your destiny. And what I am getting is that perhaps the destiny that you thought was right for you, or you were told was right for you, is not actually your path. You've been following a false path. You have the tree card in your situation, your current situation. This is a card about healing, about possibly taking some time to work on oneself. It can be healing something like an illness, or it can be healing spiritually. I feel like for you it's healing spiritually. I'm drawn to this rainbow going through the tree and the rainbow on the zebra's head. And what I'm getting is that some of you may have found your individuality. You found what makes you you, what drives you, and what motivates you, what makes you feel passionate, and you're standing up for that. You're accepting yourself, which leads to others accepting you. This is a golden egg. This is a gift from the universe. This self-acceptance, self-awareness, this real affinity for who you are as an individual. It's a golden egg. It's a gift from the universe. In your thoughts, you have the devil in reverse. Now, what's really interesting is that you also have the shadow side in your underlying, which is the devil card, or the devil card equivalent in this tarot deck. The shadow side is all about the things that we tell ourselves that are negative. So when we tell ourselves that we're not good enough, or we don't deserve something, or we're not good enough for something, that what we feel or think is wrong, this is all the shadow side talking. It's negative energy. I'm sorry if you can hear people talking outside. It's too hot to have my window closed, so we're just going to have to pull with it. So what I'm feeling with the combination of cards here, with the Hierophant and the stars representing the structures and life map that has been set out for you by the people around you. As a child, you were probably told what to think, what was right and wrong. You may have been told that feeling certain things was wrong. Sorry, just had to have a quick pause to shut my window finally, because my neighbours got very, very loud, very chatty. So where was I? I was saying that you may have been led to believe, with this devil card in reverse and with the second chakra card, that the things, certain desires you had, certain passions that you had, that you felt were wrong. You're not allowed to love that person. You're not allowed to do that certain thing. It's not right. But these were the opinions of the people around you. Then their path is not your path. So this devil card, though, is actually in reverse. So I think you're coming to realise this through this period of healing, through this gift of knowledge from the universe. You are understanding that their path was not your path, and some of the things you feel aren't wrong. The examples I'd like to give are, say you felt a very strong attraction for someone, but they were already in a committed relationship. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel love and passion and adoration for someone. That's okay. What may not be okay is how you act upon those feelings, but to actually feel them is okay, and it's good to accept that. You may have been taught that sexual energy is bad, it's wrong, it's a sin. It's not. Sexual energy, magnetism, is the energy that brings people together. It's the energy that creates new life. It's a positive energy. It's how the world works. It's how we're designed to work as human beings. It's not evil. It's not a sin. But how we choose to act on those feelings is where the devil may sneak in, let's say. Another example that's coming through with the rainbow on the tree and with the rainbow on the horse, and this theme of individuality, is that this may be to do with sexual orientation, or of being told who you can be in a relationship with, who you can love. There may be religious factors saying you can't be with that person. It's wrong. Well, why is it wrong? You may be told, no, two men can't get married, two men can't have a baby. But that's the opinion of the people around you, of the structures around you. With the High Priest card, that may not be the opinion of others. So without getting too political, what I'm seeing in your reading is this understanding that different people have different thoughts and beliefs, and there's always going to be people who judge you for your choices. But what matters is that you make the choices that are right for you, and you try to act with goodness. You try to act for the greater good within that. In your act, oh no, the devil was in your action space. In your thoughts, you have Temperance, which is actually a Sagittarius card. Which is really funny to me, because temperance always to me talks about having to be patient, having to be balanced, and Sagittarius energy is normally, they're not very good at being patient and balanced. They tend to run straight in without thinking. My daughter's a Sagittarius. She does things without thinking all the time. She just goes for what she wants. I've got Sagittarius in Mars, and I can feel that kind of enthusiasm. When I get enthusiastic about something, I lose my mind, which actually, the other card is the Queen of Swords in reverse, which is the Queen of Swords upright would be someone who really thinks things through, who's very logical, who plans, but she's given up, or you've given up on planning. You're done with planning. You're going to go full Sagittarius. And yeah, you're stepping into your own energy. This card, I really like it because I play The Sims, and the lady in this card reminds me of Bella Goth, who's one of the main characters. Someone else, when I posted this to Twitter, they said, oh, the other girl's Katrina Caliente, who's an alien, so she's very individual. So this might be about you finding your own people who you connect with, who you feel passionate with, who motivate you and bring you happiness. Okay, so that's what's going on in your current situation. You're going through this process of accepting yourself, of changing, of looking at things a different way. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention though is you have this crocodile in your underlying. Now the crocodile is lurking, watching, waiting energy, and the colour of his eye reminds me of the golden egg. So you have this gift, but there may be someone watching you they may be judging you. It might not necessarily be a bad thing. They may be watching you to see how you act in a certain situation. So just be aware that you may be under scrutiny a little bit at the moment. If you were going for a job, perhaps, they may be looking at you to see if you're suitable for the role. They may be monitoring you. Just a little heads up there. In your future energies, in your future situation, you have, now don't get too excited or scared depending on how this fits with you, you have the ring card, which can actually be a ring about engagement or a contract of some kind. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can literally be a new job. It's a little bit like the Ace of Pentacles energy, or it's the Ace of Wands actually. So it's the same as this Ace of Wands in your past, same energy. It does make me think of the Ace of Pentacles though, so it could be some kind of new project that you're working on, some kind of just something new that may involve a contract of some kind or a partnership of some kind. This comes with the magnifying glass, which is to do with scrutiny, which is looking at a situation more closely. So you may have to... Sorry about that, I had to pause again. My Sagittarius daughter was galloping around the house like a horse. She's making quite a lot of noise. Okay, so you have the ring and the magnifying glass, which means you need to look at something more closely. The number on it is 44, which can again be to do with things that are quite stable. So if this is a contract, make sure you read the fine print. And you have time. So this might be saying it's time to go for that new opportunity, that new passionate project, or that new person that you're motivated to move towards. Ooh, I really hope that's the last time I have to pause today. But it's just getting a little bit cooped up, I think, being stuck in the house so much. So yeah, this is time, and there's a lot of birds here, which can mean communication. So yeah, it might be time to go for what you want. Especially with the temperance card here being the possibility of having to be patient, having to wait for something, having to strategize, not being able to come forward at the time. Now it's time to step out and to move forward with whatever this is for you. You have the beaver card, which I love because look at his little face. He's so happy. So the beaver works hard on something. He's a builder. He's someone who makes things. Hardworking. So if this is work for you, I feel like it's something that's going to make you pretty happy with that beaver face. In your future thoughts, you have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Now it's not the Page of Pentacles. I always think she's the Page of Pentacles because she has this little light in her hand and she's wearing green, so she always makes me think of the Page of Pentacles, but she's not. She's the Page of Wands. So again, there's this connection here with some kind of project or some kind of plan that you're very, very passionate about. The page is quite a young energy. It's someone who is studying, who's learning, who is just starting to bring in something. But with her being in the reverse, what I'm getting is that you may have done your planning, you may have done enough strategizing in the past, and you may be ready to move forward. You may be ready to move into Queen of Wands energy rather than Page of Wands energy. I'm also drawn to the horses on this card because Sagittarius, you always make me think of horses, or horses make me think of you, that kind of running forwards energy. This page is sat on a carousel, so she's been going round and round and round and round, maybe really thinking things through, but no, she's ready for action now. She's ready to take those horses off the carousel. You have the Three of Wands in your thoughts and in your action space. It's the Three of Wands in your action space is actually reversed. Now what I'm seeing here is that in your heart you have been waiting for something, waiting for this offer to come in, waiting for this new start to happen. So you're really feeling that it's time with that time card for this to happen, but you recognize that waiting is not very constructive. You can't just sit there waiting forever. So in your action space, you're not sitting around waiting anymore. You're either doing something about it or you're doing something else to pass the time while you wait for this engagement ring or whatever that represents for you to come in. And what I really like about this energy in your action space in the future is that you had the High Priestess in the upright and the Magician in the reverse. Now, this is what's interesting about this to me is that the Magician is someone who makes their dreams a reality. They take what's above and bring it below. Anything that they think is a fantasy, anything that they've been dreaming about, they've got the tools, all the tools they need to make it happen, to make it work, to ground it. You have it in the reverse, but what I'm getting from this is that you are taking your reality, you're taking the boring everyday life, and you are turning it into a fantasy. You're turning your reality into your dreams, which is so interesting to me that it came out this way, because the high priestess, she's lifting up out of that water. She's coming up out of her emotions into the air, into the dream space, looking up towards the stars, and she's ready to dream. She's going to dream big, and she's going to create her own reality. So with all this this business in the past, where you're looking at what makes you an individual, looking at the things that make you feel passionate, looking at your life and all the things that may not be working for you, and thinking, well, how can I make them work for me? How can I change them into something that makes me feel passionate and creative? And I think that's really interesting. It's very clever, actually, very creative energy. You actually have the High Priestess here twice, along with the Moon card, which is a card about intuition. All three of these cards have the moon on them. This is really looking at your own spiritual side, looking deep within yourself, moving into a dream space where you're not afraid to dream big anymore. You're not afraid to allow yourself to feel and think certain things. It's very watery, very spiritual energy. It might be quite a new space for you to move into. Now, if you are into numerology, and if you are interested in twin flames, you do have 1111 here with the two High Priestess cards, and on this Moon card you have what look to be like two twin flames, two burning torches. So that, if you're interested in that, that's something for you there. The last card you have is the Seven of Wands again. So if you were not standing up for yourself in the past, you definitely are now. You've got this card twice. You actually have a lot of sevens in this reading. I'll just quickly point them out. You have the Seven of Swords here, the Seven of Cups here. This card breaks down to a 7. The 2 and the 5 makes a 7. Seven of Wands, Seven of Wands, Seven of Swords. I think there was another one, but maybe not. There's a 7 on this card. So the number 7 is a number about spirituality. I'll just pick this card back up while I talk about this. The number 7 is a card about spirituality and of individuality. It's of moving into this space of expressionism. So I really feel like you're starting to live your dreams. You're starting to live your truth, which is just brilliant. I'm so proud of you, Sagittarius. And you're standing up for yourself. Anyone who's trying to call you out, anyone who's trying to bring you down or argue with you about these things, you're not having it. You are standing your ground, you're living your truth, and you're ignoring all this negative energy, and you're just head in the clouds, enjoying yourself. And that's beautiful. Well done. That was a really lovely reading. Thank you for staying with me so long, because that was quite a long reading. I really appreciate you. Take care. Bye.